since we were just talking about some video game stuff, let me know what you guys think about this. Okay, how much of an impact do you think this would have on the gaming landscape if the next generation Xbox were backwards compatible, but the PlayStation 5 were not?
I think that would affect it if there were games on the Xbox One.
The thing is, like,
yeah, you saw the tweet I saw, right?
Fuck that. DeMarcus Cousins just signed with the Golden State Warriors.
Is that Boogie?
Yeah, that's Boogie.
He is like possibly the best. No.
I think that may have just definitively made them the best team to ever be assembled in the NBA history. Period. Like, their starting five is stupid.
They literally have, like, they have Stephen Curry, Durant, Boogie. These guys are probably top 10 players in the league right now. They have 3 top 10 players in the league. Klay Thompson's one of the best shooters in the league right now.
Maybe.
Draymond Green is probably the best defender. This is stupid.
They actually, like, their starting five is like actually like that looks like the first team All NBA. That is what it looks like. That's not like, how do they have the? Like, who's paying him? Wait, like, what the fuck? How do they have the money to pay this motherfucker? He literally cut his.
Let's swerve this back. Okay, so I don't think it would necessarily have to be exclusives, but I think that, like, people would still want to play some of the games that they bought for their Xbox or, you know, whatever other console that they had on their new system. I think, like, because especially in the ever expanding digital age, like, it's not a comforting feeling. And this is something that I have just recently, like, been thinking to myself, because I buy almost like 98% of my games are digital, right? And I just started thinking to myself, like, I'm buying all these games on my Switch. The Switch could possibly end up being my favorite console of all time. What happens when the new Nintendo system comes out and, like, maybe they shut off servers or they do some shit with this Nintendo Switch? Am I fucked? Like, am I gonna, like, does buying these games only mean you own them for as long as the console is existing, frankly?
Well, I mean, if you have it installed, right, like, they can't stop you from getting on it, because it's not.
Yeah, if you have it installed, sure, yeah. But, like, what if, like, I have my ever expanding library of games? I can't have them all installed at the same time.
You can get SD cards.
I don't know, bro. Like, to me, I don't think it would be like groundbreaking. Like, I don't think it'd be enough to give, like, Xbox an edge over Sony, but I do think it would matter, because especially if these are rumored to come out as soon as they are, like in like 2019, 2020 is what a lot of people are saying, that they're coming out, and a lot of people are not accepting of the idea of new consoles. So I think having backwards compatibility would go a long way. And frankly, I don't see why they wouldn't have it.
I mean, they probably will, but, like, again, like, I just don't think, like, for me, I'd be like, okay, but, like, there's literally nothing that I want to play on my Xbox One. And I don't think there will be by the time that system is gone. You know what I mean? Right. Like, if and even just looking from like an objective consumer, like, just like from a consumer's point of view, like, not even just me specifically, I just don't feel like that would be, like, that would turn many people, you know what I mean? To the, like, yeah. I think with the PlayStation, I think if somebody told you that you could play all your PS4 games on the PS5, you'd be like, wait, seriously? All those games that I didn't get to play, like, if they never got a PlayStation 4, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that value increase seems a lot higher than if they are, like, interested in an Xbox, because
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree with that.
There's no games.
Yeah, that's definitely a solid point. But even, like, if I wanted to play, like, that's why I like my Xbox One a lot, is because if I wanted to play, like, any game, even, like, it doesn't have to be an Xbox exclusive, because frankly, like, it's not that 360 had a lot of exclusives or whatever, but, like, any game released during that, or not any game, but a lot of the best games released during that generation, even if they're multi-plat, I can play on my Xbox because of backwards compatibility. And to me, that's worth something to me. Again, is it something that, like, edges it out over, you know, Sony? I mean, clearly not. I don't think it would be like that for most people, but I thought it was an interesting topic because Xbox doing a lot of these services, like having the backwards compatibility and stuff to try to like win gamers back and shit. Like if Sony gets confident enough to like be like, nah, fuck that bullshit, we're just gonna make these remasters and make people double dip. I don't know if that would shift anything at all. Who knows what the gaming culture would do? But yeah, I think largely it's not going to help Xbox win anything, but I think Xbox would get a lot of points from like consumers for doing that.
I think, the thing that I think Sony does have enough of a lead right now in this like console race that would be in like it like the any like edge that Xbox would get would be like insignificant in the long run. You know, like do you see what I'm saying? Like even if that were the case, I just don't think it would matter. Because
what I think. Now, this might be considered a hot take here. No, I don't think it's going to be a hot take. I think this is almost set in stone. I think the next generation Xbox is going to have a launch of games that might be like
the best ever.
Like it has potential because they made all these acquisitions recently, and we're not going to see these games until about when the new Xbox comes out anyway. So I think their launch is going to be really strong. Whereas Sony is blowing their load right now on the PlayStation. They might have the new God of War around that time, but a lot of their shit is being used right now on the PlayStation 4. Unless they have like a port that's on PS4 and PS5, which at that case, like that's not going to sell a console. But I think that Xbox is going to set themselves up pretty well for the future. And if they have the fact that like, hey, any other game you ever played that's multi-platform, of course, can be played on the Xbox too. I think that'll be cool.
I think a big thing that's going to do a lot for Xbox if Sony doesn't like chill soon is the crossplay shit. Like I think crossplay is going to be huge next generation. That is huge. Like I think like for most people, like they don't want to have a specific console like that at this point. Like they don't want to have a PC. Like they should be able to play with me on my PC or my Mac or my Game Boy or whatever the fuck, like yeah. Games shouldn't, like people are at this point, I think they're deciding that games shouldn't be, segregated. And I think this is the biggest fight for civil rights.
Would you say that you have a dream?
I have a dream that one day my children can play with other children, regardless of the content
Preach.
of the UI of their console.
See, if I could... Good, sorry. Didn't mean to cut you into your speech.
But instead, played with solely on the content of their skill.
Yes.
Preach.
See, if I could get like the new Call of Duty or any other multi-platform game on my Xbox and play it with people that are on PS4, that would be great because I prefer the Xbox controller for shooting games, I would say, on to the PS4 controller. I'm stupid, but yeah.
I definitely think I definitely think nobody really loses out if it's like everybody can play Call of Duty together and like everybody can play Fortnite together. But then it's like really the exclusives like that, like your single player titles, like your Last of Us type shit. That's what is your deciding factor.
That needs to be what decides people buying consoles from now on. And I think in the next generation it will be, because like with Fortnite, with like the MMOs all being fucking crossplay, like many games. What's that other game that people like? You ride the little fucking go-karts.
Rocket League.
Like all these different games that are coming out, and you can play. It doesn't matter what system you have and shit. Like that's very cool, and that's shit we literally have always wanted, but just assumed, like because they told us it couldn't happen, that we just assumed it couldn't happen. Well, come to find out, it can happen, and it seems pretty easy. So like.
It literally seems like it's a flick of the switch, because like Fortnite did that accidental patch or whatever where they accidentally allowed crossplay. It's literally a flick of the switch, and like Like Sony's just being a bunch of bitches about it.
Yeah, my favorite thing is when Sony comes down, there's like, there's technical issues involved.
Right.
We can't actually do it. It's not just a flip of a switch. And I was like, that's kind of interesting because it happened before.
Yeah.
So.
And as quick as they accidentally turned it on, they magically turned it off. So I don't know, kind of seemed like a switch to me.
Yeah. Like I have my Game Boy because there are games on this Game Boy that I cannot play anywhere else. I have my PC because I have a PC and I'm a grown man. I have my PlayStation because there's a lot of games I can only play on that. I don't have an Xbox because there's no games on that.
Fair point.
So, I think the next generation of consoles will be defined by crossplay and like more than ever the exclusives. Like the ability for a console to sell, I think will be very much determined on whether or not it has exclusives. Whereas now I think it's dependent on what your friends have more than the exclusives. But if that goes away, then it's going to be entirely based on like UI, like what they can provide you over the other console and games, which is what it should be.
Which is interesting because like Sony has the better, like as of right now, Sony has the better exclusives, so you think they'd be more willing to just be like, fuck it. If like Xbox people want to play with PlayStation people, who gives a fuck?
Yeah. That's the thing though.
They wouldn't care.
They're making an Xbox One level mistake here. This is some shit that is tantamount, if not perhaps in the long run worse than when Xbox came out. And because at least Xbox was
they backtracked quickly.
Yeah, they had the wherewithal to understand, oh no, we fucked up severely. And like the next day was like, my bad, you can trade in your games. My bad, like you don't gotta fucking like pay to suck your own dick. Like do what you gotta do. Like, you know what I mean? They're very quick with that shit. But Sony is dragging their fucking feet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they could lose a lot. I mean, like for me, they're already losing a lot of good faith,
Yeah.
Because I'm starting to see them as more of a tyrant, the way that Xbox felt at the beginning of this console generation and towards the end of the last one. Too high up on their horse to see the fucking grass beneath them.
Right.
It's not a saying.
I was gonna say, did you just make that up?
I did.
Wait a minute.
That's
if that's not on the Secret Pod Quotes Twitter account, I'm gonna have a bit of an issue.
I don't know. They need to do that, or like they're gonna get fucking murdered.
Yeah.
Next semester or whatever it's called. Next console generation, they're gonna get murdered.